Hello there, I'm teacher Sara and I'm from Phuket Pals, and today our screencast will focus on the Reasoning Through Language Arts section of the GED test. As subsections, it has reading and writing, but for this particular screencast, we will be looking at this fastest reading section. This part usually goes on for 65 minutes and consists of 40 questions. Let's dive right in. One of the most important parts of writing a test, any test, is to carefully read through the directions. And this one reads, each excerpt from a longer work is followed by multiple choice questions about the reading material. Read each excerpt and then answer the questions that follow. Choose the one best answer for each question. Refer to the reading material as often as necessary in answering the question. Now, in this kind of tests, you can definitely follow the elimination process, which means what doesn't apply or what doesn't fit gets kicked to the curb. Next up, the actual test portion. Now look at this little blurb right here. This is actually meant to help you. It tells you exactly what you need to know and what you need to focus on, and if you find yourself getting lost in the text, because they can be longer than the one we have right here, let's have a quick look-see at the entire text. There. You just go back to it, and it usually has a lot to do with what the author is trying to tell you and what the questions may most likely be based on. If you consider yourself quite a speedy reader, you could read the full text, and this you can achieve through practice and time, but if not, and even so, the best and most useful advice is to skip right ahead to the questions and then refer back to the text using keywords. You can use the trimming the fat method, which is reading the first and last sentence of a line and then find out the gist of the subject and then search for the answer from there, like so. I don't want Joe to find me on my knees. Mom, what are you doing? Relax. Does that not tell you something already? Now what we need to find out if this information is what we need to find. And you can do that by going to the question first. Number 1. The reason that neither the narrator nor Joe can relax is that Michael is leaving for India. Now, let's look for the word India. Go by keywords. Michael, India. Michael, Joe's identical twin, has been teaching mathematics in a secondary school in Benares, India for 2 years. That is why I'm buffing the floor, why neither of us can relax. There you go. The reason that neither the narrator nor Joe can relax is that it's not because Michael is leaving for India, because he clearly is in India already and needs to be picked up from the airport, most likely. They cannot get to the airport in time. Where do I find the word airport? I think I'll leave for the airport about 9. He is bouncing in his chair. I smile and say, why don't you leave now? Clearly, there is no rush at all to pick up Michael from the airport. Number 3, they have not seen Michael in 2 years. 2 years? There you are. I'm relaxed, Mom. What makes you think I'm not relaxed? His expression is almost maniacal. They're 25 and they have not seen each other in 2 years. Necessary chores have not been done. Joe doesn't find it particularly amusing that Mom is buffing the kitchen floor with an old cotton turtleneck. And it says here, that is why I'm buffing the floor, why neither of us can relax. And there you go. The reason that neither the narrator nor Joe can relax is that they have not seen Michael in 2 years. Not because the necessary chores have not been done, because it doesn't seem that important to Joe. They had to get up very early to meet Michael. Mom is buffing the kitchen floor. Joe is bouncing in his chair. It doesn't say at all to me that they're very excited to get up early to meet Michael at the airport. So the best answer here is they have not seen Michael in 2 years. Number 2, what is the overall mood of this passage? Tense but comfortable, tense and worried, angry and tense, moody and troubled, carefree but unhappy. Seems to me that they are both tense but also comfortable. Joe is having his coffee with lots of milk and sugar. And Mom says, Joe says to Mom, "You, woman, get up, have a cup of tea or something." And so I do, simply for the pleasure of sitting at the kitchen table with my son. I let him make me toast and peel me an orange and pour milk on my Rice Krispies. They are a bit tense, but also comfortable. And there you go. Number 3. The author's purpose in describing the kitchen floor is to give background information about the plot. First off, what does plot mean? The plot means the plot is the main events of a play, novel, movie, or similar work devised and presented by the writer as interrelated sequence. It could also mean a storyline or chain of events. Is it about Joe and Michael's relationship? First off, let's find the part that Mom, or the author's purpose in describing the kitchen floor is to give background information about. Find that place. The floor is pegged maple, about 75 years old. The boards vary in width, from 2 inches to 5, and are laid diagonally. In the last 15 minutes, I have worked my way from the pantry to the back door into a long bronze leaf of sunlight that colors my forearm and turns my hands muscular with shadows. I like this floor, troublesome as it is. Caring for it, I remind myself of my mother, and the city, in spite of all its trees, seems rather like Nebraska where I grew up. The long rhythmic motions with the rag are soothing and productive at the same time. And then you see Joe says, "I think I'll leave for the airport about 9." Clearly, it is not Joe's narrative that is being talked about in this particular story. Is it the plot? Is it about the plot? Is it about Joe and Michael's relationship? Is it really about the setting, which is the location or the place or type of surroundings where something is positioned or where something or an event takes place? Is it about the narrator? Or is it at all about Michael's trip? Mom is the one who is talking. It is her story, and it is in her point of view that Joe speaks. So the answer here is number 4, the narrator, which is Mom. Based on this excerpt, this novel is most likely to be about religious conflict, cultural change, educational methods, personal history, family relationships. From what I've read thus far, through keywords, there is a mom, there is Joe, and there is Michael, who is going to be picked up from the airport, and they are both tense but comfortable about this turn of events. And so I believe that this is about family relationships. No religious conflict has been mentioned. No cultural change has been mentioned. There's nothing about educational methods, though Michael here is a teacher in Benares, India. There is a little bit about personal history, what Mom feels about the kitchen floor, but it is most likely about family relationships. And so there you go. Why does the narrator provide these details about Joe in lines 11 to 14? He drinks them 3 at a time, I've noticed this summer, hot and with lots of milk and sugar. From these lines. 1. They show his similarity to Michael. Does it? Now he turns from the coffee maker, and the cup is half empty before he sits at the table. He is grinning. Michael will be here today. Michael is Joe's identical twin. Doesn't say that at all. They illustrate his nervousness. From what I've seen, from the chair jumping, chair bouncing, and asking Mom to calm down, he is not particularly nervous. They show his affection for his mother. Does it show his affection for his mother? Not necessarily. they make him seem like a lifelike character? Or is it they make him seem angry and impatient? We all know that this is not true. So the best answer here is that they make him seem like a lifelike character. Because just like us, some days we like to drink coffee, even during the summer, hot and with lots of milk and sugar, like most of us do. And there you go. Those are the 5 answers to this text. All right, now that we're done with answering the test, I would like to impart with you some tips that I've read through our very own bookitpals.org website. It says here, Reading Focus IELTS, How to Improve. Although we are practicing for the GED test, you will find that the tips here are actually applicable to most tests, if not all tests. Like I said earlier, find your reading purpose. And luckily for us, in this excerpt, there is a title. And there we find the purpose. What do I need to know? What do I need to know? Stay on track and find the answer to what do I need to know. Don't let your mind wander. Number 2, use a visual cue. Using your pen or finger while scanning or reading for detail keeps you focused. Using this technique will increase your reading speed. It also helps keep you focused while you're reading, even if you can't particularly highlight or underline the test. If you're taking a computer test, then just get your finger in there. It helps you focus and not you lose and keep rereading the same line over and over and over, which happens to the best of us. Tip number 3, practice read and recall technique. Like I said, you can read through it if you're a speedy reader already, and then try to remember where you found the line or the keyword. So those are 3 tips that are very important when trying to improve your reading, even if it's during the test. And all right, that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the bookitpals.org website and also on our Facebook page and Instagram. Just look for Book It Pals. And thank you very much. See you next time.